Hey everyone, Nick Kratikos of Nick's Seasonal Decor, and today I have a really cool project planned for you all, and that involves this wall basket. So you're going to need one brick of dry floral foam, which I just cut slightly smaller. I only took about 2 inches off, and the reason for that is because it smushes right into the container very easily. So with a little bit of pressure, that's all that's really necessary. You don't need to add hot glue because the stems are actually going to poke through the vine. Here we have some basic greenery. This one is really pretty because it also has a little bit of fake snow, as well as some glitter. And we just broke it up into pieces, and here's our glue, which we're going to dip our stems into, and then just poke it right into the foam. So we ended up not working any moss on top of the foam because in the end, all of the greenery and the berries we're going to add are going to cover up any of the foam that's still showing. So I broke down 2 of these sprays. These sprays, as well as the berries, are available in our shop, and you can pick up your wall basket basically at any craft store. They all have different variations. So feel free to choose whichever basket you would like or matches your own home. So as you can see, it's very spiky, and I think it created a really cool texture. But now it's time to come back in with these berries. So again, these berries are available in our shop. And these ones are one of my favorites because the stems on these are very gnarly and wild, and it just creates a realistic approach. So these berries also vary in size. Some of them are a little bit smaller within one spray, and other ones are slightly larger, so it really creates a unique contrast and a really realistic approach. So we'll just dip those in the stem, and as you can see, I just poked that right through the twig basket. By doing so, you soften the edge of your container and you create that illusion of your greenery and your berries kind of just growing out of that container. So you want it as realistic as possible. So I'm just filling in, and as you can see, you still see a lot of foam at this point, but the more berries you work in and the more greenery you work in, the less of that foam is revealed. So I broke down a total of 3 or 4 of these sprays, and I also just, essentially just ripped them apart. It's very easy to break these down. So we're going to place a few cascading down the front, use a few as a filler, and we're good to go. Up next, I just worked in a little bit of this Walmart ribbon. This is actually used to wrap presents. It's not great quality, but it does work really nicely in this design. So it's a very narrow ribbon, and essentially we're going to create a skinny bow. I'm going to create several loops, and if you're interested in seeing more bow tutorials, hands up and comment down below because we have plenty more coming your way for the upcoming holiday season. So another thing to consider with bow making is to not be too particular. Some of these loops are different sizes, actually pretty much every single one is slightly off, and that just creates a unique look. All bows do not have to be perfect. I very rarely measure out my loops, if ever, and the effect that I go for is more of that just natural bow look, and as always, we're using wired ribbon, so you can kind of manipulate the loops if they're too long or too big. So we're just going to fluff it out, kind of see if that's the amount of loops I want to add. I think I want to add a couple more before we work in our tails. But you can always hold it up to your design, and that's a good telltale sign. If you like it at that point, then you can stop, and of course if you don't, you can work in a few additional loops. So to cut these tails, I'm just gonna cut off the end where it meets the bow, and then I'm gonna actually take a long piece and work it underneath. So I really like having long tails, and for all of my friends that sell wreaths, one quick tip I can give you is the longer the tails, the larger the design. Even though it's just an illusion, which ultimately means you can charge more money for it. But in this case, I just want to teach you guys how to create a beautiful berry basket. So we're going to take that tail, work it behind the bow. I'm going to grab a red pipe cleaner. This ribbon is a darker red, but it is a red velvet. So you're not going to see that red pipe cleaner in the end at all once you nestle it into the design. And to do so, I'm just going to take one of the scrap stems from the berries. I just cut about a 5 or 6 inch piece of the stem, and we're just going to wrap it around that pipe cleaner. But it's always a good idea to kind of fluff your bow gently before placing it. That way you're not going to smush it, or you're not going to place it too far down. So here we have that twig right here, and we're just going to wrap that around that pipe cleaner. It's as easy as that, and it makes it easier to insert in the foam. So I also make sure to take that wire and wrap it around itself as well to really keep it in place. And to know that it's secured, all you have to do is really just tug on it, and if the bow falls off, then you can definitely secure it a little bit better. So then we just added a little hot glue to the end of that stem, poke it into the styrofoam, or the floral foam in today's case, and start fluffing it out so we get that perfect look. I also run my fingers through the tails. I do that with any ribbon I'm working with to get any creases out. I want my ribbons to be as perfect as possible. And there's the finished product. Look at how beautiful that turned out. I absolutely love it, with all the berries, the greenery with the glitter, and the beautiful basket. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to give it a thumbs up and a share, and check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram under Nick's Seasonal Decor. I'm Nick Kretikos, and thank you so much for watching. Bye everyone.